Hey friends, it's Melanie with Melanie Stamps, and today we're going to have a fun technique on a background embossing folder using a 3D embossing folder from the newly released Christmas or sealed for Christmas collection. These, surprisingly, these sentiment dies here each come with a shadow die, and I love that these are all occasion sentiments, even though they came with a Christmas collection. This notched 3D embossing folder is the one we're going to use today, and it is so detailed. It does have the notched center, but we're going to actually cover that up with a die today. This embossing folder is also one we're going to use, and we're going to use it as a little background embossed area. So those are the three products we're mainly going to focus on today. So the first thing we're going to do is use the 3D embossing folder here, and I've wiped it down front and back with a baby wipe. We're going to use a sandwich that is right there listed on our platform for our Platinum 6. I always recommend when people buy a new Platinum 6 to make sure they get the newer version with the specialized plate system. The new and improved version comes with this plate system, and it makes your 3D embossing so much easier. Look at the results. It is gorgeous. I will make sure I have the link for this down below. This is one of the game changers in my crafting, is the use of, or the ease of use of embossing folders, that this machine has changed my life. So I used to always use the Gemini machine, and I still use the Gemini for like big time die cutting, but the Spellbinders machine has become a love for me, especially with the uses of embossing folders and of course the Better Press and the Glimmer. Now I have wiped this down with clear embossing ink, and we're going to use and you can use any embossing powder. I have chosen this specialty embossing powder from my stash. It is a retired company. They went out of business, Sparkle and Sprinkle. It's a team I used to be on, but I chose it for the color. I'm actually matching a wax seal that I have previously made, and I wanted this pink background, but I wanted it to be a little stepped up. So that's why I'm showing you this technique. And I got the idea from Justine over at Stationery by Justine. She did this gorgeous, gorgeous fall background, and I believe she used a gold embossing powder over her 3D embossing folder. And I wanted something pink and glittery. So I went ahead and just tried this with a clear mark embossing powder or ink, and then just dug through my stash of embossing powders, picked something that went with my wax seal color, and this is what I came up with. So I used my brush there to dust off excess powder. I didn't want it over everything, so I kind of just dusted off areas so that it wouldn't be solid. And then I heat embossed this, and I really love the texture and the glitter because this has a glitter in it. So of course you all know I love my glitter and glam, so this really stepped up the background, and I hope that you guys will be encouraged to just experiment with what you have in your stash and play with your new products as well, and mix and match what you have in your stash with what you normally get new, because mixing and matching is all the fun. I mean, look at that. It is really, really stepped up. So from here, I use that low profile. I don't know if I show it here next or not, but I'm going to use, oh, I don't show it on camera, but I use the low profile embossing folder right here to do the background of what my florals are going to be on, and I use the modern ovals to cut that out. So I have done that as the backer piece that where my florals are going to sit. And I really loved the look of that 2D embossing folder with my florals on top of it, and then the 3D embossing folder as my background. It really gave a different look, and I thought that was really interesting. So that's something you will probably see from me in the future, because I really loved the smoothness of the 2D mixed with the bulk of the 3D in the background. So I've left this portion of the video in. I wanted to give you a contrast. If you've seen my last video on sealing, my wax seal video last time, I showed you guys the technique of adding the embossing folder with the double-sided adhesive. Well, in this video here, I went ahead and used the glue, just regular glue, or barely art glue with the embossing folder. And these 3D embossing folders have such detail and such depth to them that I really don't like the way they lay down. They just sometimes are rippled and misbehave, and I was fighting with it here, trying to get the little areas to lay down. And of course, the more you mess with it, the more flattening you're getting of your 3D embossing. Here I am pressing it down, trying to get the glue to attach. I don't like that the edges are raised, so I am ripping it back up, and I'm going to fix the problem by adding some adding some double stick adhesive sheet to the back of the embossing folder. So I'm trimming it down here to fit my panel. And we're going to go ahead and put this on the back of the embossed panel. And I recommend this every time you do 3D embossing for sure. It works great with 2D also. If you see any kind of ripples or any kind of uneven paper when you emboss, this is such a great technique. Go ahead and put that on the back of your embossing and then attach this to a thick white cardstock. I'm going to trim off a little bit of the adhesive here that ran over the edges, and these Spellbinder shears are perfect for this because they are Teflon shears and they don't stick to anything. So they're really perfect. Plus the long shears are great when you're trimming long edges of your card, so you don't cut your actual card itself. So I'm pressing that in really well, and this really helps keeping it flat. Not losing the indent, the 3D portion, but keeping it flat as in not, rippled, in other words. So here I'm removing that backing. I'm going to put it on a piece of thick cardstock. I believe this is 100-pound weight. Nina Solar Crest, I believe I'm using here. It's either 100 or 110. But I'm going to put it on there, and that just gives it extra support. It also makes it super easy to attach and glue down. I find that easier to do that rather than take the sticky sheet and put it down on your foil, because that stuff, once it sticks, it sticks. There's no maneuverability. So this way of doing it with the white paper on the back gives you the maneuverability when you put it down on the foil. So that's another reason I do it like this. And of course, my glue, I didn't put the pin in it, so I have to clear that out real quick, which is no problem. It always is tried and true. The pin works every time. So here I'm lining this back up, and now it is easy breezy. It also makes for a beautiful, very professional feel to your card. It does add a little bit of weight to your card because of the extra piece of cardstock, but it's well worth the way the card feels and ends up in the end. It's very professional feeling. I can't express that more in another way than that. It's very luxurious, I guess, is another good adjective for it. So here we're going to put our florals together, and these are layerable florals, so the flowers match the background, which Of course, Spellbinder's flowers are so good about this. So layering these up is super easy. So I have used the silver foil here on top of black for my flower centers. So we're just going to pop that in the center. I thought having a little bit of black and silver for contrast was a neat idea for the centers. Aren't they cute? I just love that. So I did that for the centers of both of the flowers. There's two different shapes of flowers here in this set. So we're going to put that in the center of this one. And this flower is like side shaped. So you have that in the middle of the two pieces. And you see you put the glue right along the bottom there. And I love this one set of florals because you've got multiple things to choose from. You've got your leaves, you've got your multiple florals. It's a good variety in this set. So we're going to glue this one down onto our base flower right there on the side. It's kind of like a bud. I just love that. That is such a pretty flourish. And then this one here, I cut out a silver metallic, and I used the fun foam, the glitter foam that Spellbinders has, and this stuff cuts like a dream. I don't know if you guys have used this yet, but it just pops out using the regular die. It's pop-up die cutting glitter foam sheets. It comes in different colors. It also comes in black and white. And the die cuts, I mean, you just one run through and it cuts straight through the fun foam, and it's got the glitter on there, which just gives you a little dimension. It gives you the shine, and it does take a little bit of time to dry, so I can easily put all of these on at once. And then I use my pokey tool to just maneuver those in place because it does take a little time to dry, so those will move on you. But you just get them in place and then leave them there for a minute or two and let them set. But they're just so pretty. I just love the way those turn out, and it gives your card that little extra dimension. Then there's a couple leaves in this set also. So I'm just going to arrange these on those modern ovals. And these modern ovals are great because they're extended in length, so it's perfect for these sealed sets that have the longer stems. They just fit perfectly. But I also use these like on the house mouse card I made that where they're skating for scenes that are like landscape scenes. They are perfect for those as well. I mean, I've used this set a lot. I really love these essential sets that have all of the layering. I think I've almost collected all of them now. I've been slowly watching the sales, the clearance sales, and when they go on sale, I grab them. So I think I've almost got them, guys. You know me, I'm a collector. So, but I gotta have a steal. Gotta have a deal. So if you wait for the sales, that's the reason I advertise the sales. And I advertise them in my group over at Heartfelt Card Making at Spellbinders and More on Facebook. So if you always want to know when there's a free shipping sale or when there is a warehouse sale or I don't advertise every single sale there is. A lot of the different companies have sales like 10% off, and I don't do everything. But if it's a free shipping or if it's a huge warehouse sale, stuff like that where I think the deals are good enough for me to be shopping, then I let you guys know about it. So if you'd like to be in on that group and share your projects with me as well, which I would love to see your projects, head on over there. I have the link down below, and I would love you to join my group and share your projects that you make with me every day. So here we're going to glue this on to our foil layer. And then we're going to put that right there in the center of our card. And this card is a 5x7. I did make that a little bit longer or taller and larger so that we could really see the embossed background. I really wanted to show off that glitter. And I just love those little glitter, foam glitter accents also. I just think that's really, really pretty. So, and then that seal, the wax seal, I'm going to go ahead and link those wax seals in the video also. I'll put a card up. And we're going to glue that wax seal on right here and add that sentiment, and our card will be complete. Look at there. I just love that. I do make sure I put a lot of adhesive on the backs of my seals just to make sure they're going to stick, and they do. They do stick really well with the Barely Art glue. So you also can get stickers which will stick on the back of your seals. You can get those. They're really cheap and inexpensive. I've got some on order. I have not used them personally myself yet, but I did order some from Spellbinders so I can try them out. So I will be letting you guys know how I like those as well in the future. So there is that. I'm trying to get it perfectly centered. Oh, I decide to pop it up. Yeah. Let's pop it up here and give it a little more dimension. And we will see how we like that. You can't ever go wrong with dimension. I really like the way this card turned out. I like the colorway. I like the way the glitter in the background is. And I'm just learning to use wax seals, and I'm looking at different ways of using them. Like on this one, I spread the flowers out wider rather than the way I usually see people use them. They bunch all the flowers together and they have the seal holding all the flowers in the center. Well, I spread these out more, and I thought the seal would sit better on them, and I thought, you know, it would just look more well dispersed, and I really like the way it turned out. So we're gonna put this sentiment on here, and I tied the sentiment in with the centers of those flowers, the black and the silver. And these are those sentiments I showed you at the beginning, the all occasion sentiments. Even though these came with Christmas collection, the sealed for Christmas collection, look how this card doesn't look anything like Christmas, because I pulled in the other sealed florals and I pulled in a different wax seal, and I'm using just the embossing folder in the sentiments, and there we go. I just love the way this turned out. It's so sparkly, and I love that texture of the 2D embossing folder there behind the florals. Isn't that really pretty, having both embossing folders? I really love the way it turned out in that wax seal. Really just sets everything off. Well, I hope you enjoyed, guys, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.